Nintendo, one of the most beloved game companies around, making some of the most iconic IPs. All around great company. Or are they? Nintendo has a reputation of generally being a good gaming company and making some really great games, but they are not free of criticism. When it comes to being shady, like most AAA gaming studios, they have a history of it. I mean, they're not as bad as like EA or Activision or EA again.
Well, first, we don't call them loot boxes. I think that was
whatever term you wish to apply to them. Do you consider them ethical?
So what we look at as surprise mechanics.
Surprise mechanics.
But they got a history, and they have a history of being greedy, targeting fans or content creators, or pissing off some of the biggest tech giants out there. The first thing I want to go into, it's a little bit of a lighter controversy, but it's a controversy all the same. It's these things, okay? The JoyCons and the goddamn drift that they have, okay? There's drift, and it'd be one thing like, oh, they released a faulty product, you know, whatever, and they're trying to fix it. No, they just flat out they refuse to accept that they drift. They don't even acknowledge that it's a thing. It's like it doesn't exist. It's like forbidden words to them. You know, there's no such thing as drift. But you know, you could send it back to them and they'll give you like, you know, a fixed Joy-Con. They'll repair it for you, probably to avoid lawsuit or whatever, or to investigate even further into the matter. But Joy-Cons drift, and it's annoying. You know how many have I gone through of these? You know how many freaking Joy-Cons I went through? A lot of freaking Joy-Cons, like too many of these, okay? I'm tired of the drift. I'm tired of this.
I'm tired of this, Grandpa.
That's too damn bad.
The next one is, I don't know, I found it a bit disgusting, was their limited time release on the Super Mario 3D All-Star game, where they retroactively took it off the store and then gave some bullshit reason on why it had to be taken off. And then to start off with also that the games themselves, they were emulated. You can't tell me that they weren't. They were emulated. Okay? Hell, there's actual ROM hacks on emulations for these 3 games, on especially Mario 64, where it's a proper HD port, I guess, you know, where you can actually have like an actual widescreen hack, you know, and then Nintendo does the same thing with their stupid HD, you know, the 3D All-Star game, and it's just not as even good. And then they take it off. Yeah, there's the reason that they listed was really, really stupid. Their reason is listed as follows: we wanted to celebrate in unique and different ways, and we felt it was an opportunity to release them for a limited period of time. They've done very well. Super Mario 3D All-Stars has sold over 2.6 million units in the US alone, and so clearly consumers have been able to jump in and enjoy that. What does that mean? Yeah, people liked it. They wanted to keep it. It would have probably sold more, but you know, you just remove them. What the f***? It's just, I don't know. There's just certain things that they do. It just makes no goddamn sense. Like, and I guess there's probably videos on YouTube that talk about why it was limited in more detail, but it's just, I don't know. I just think it was a scummy thing to do in general. Like, just flat out, you know, especially where they're extremely protective with their IP and remove any kind of like emulation that has to deal with this kind of stuff, like where you can't really buy the game anyway. The one time you're actually able to buy these 3 games again, you know, and play it on, you know, current hardware, they just remove it. Yeah, great job. You're real innovative, Nintendo. You're really good. Really good at that innovation thing. Definitely, 100%. The next one on the list has got to be, it's generally one of the sleaziest things I've ever seen. And I don't care where you stand with Nintendo, whether you love them, whether you hate them, this has got to rile you up in some form of way, at least it does for me, is when they release, well, there was a YouTube creator and streamer, Etika, who passed away, and you know, a bunch of people came together to make Etika-themed JoyCons that would, all the proceeds for the profits would go to a charity. And then Nintendo comes around and sent a cease and desist. Are you kidding me? Like, are you kidding me? Like, I understand they're well within their rights to do that, but are you kidding me? It wasn't like it was even getting, they were selling the shells of it, not even the Joy-Cons themselves, just shells. Like what a scummy move that they can do, but that's what they did. I just don't understand, you know? Like, how much of a scumbag can you be? But, and I know this a lot of people were really upset about this. Like, I was. This is not cool. This is terrible. I don't know. And it even comes down, like, within that like, that was all in a span of a few days. They shut down the sales of the Etika-themed Joy-Cons. They shut down a fan-made tournament for Smash Bros. Melee, and then canceled their Splatoon event because some of the players supported the Melee community. What? Are you kidding? Holy shit! Like, off. Dude. That is dog shit practice. That is just being sleazy at its best and just greedy. Like, there's no other way to put it. Like, yeah, I understand they're trying to protect their IP and innovation, but this is just on a whole other level of just being a fucking scumbag. So, the biggest blunder Nintendo has ever had, and I think this is more of a famous one, and I had to end it with this one. The biggest blunder they ever made was snubbing the wrong company and basically creating a rival. Now, it's a pretty famous one, and we all know it's Sony. Them snubbing Sony back in 1991. So, if we go back to 1991, Sony and Nintendo were working on a CD drive for the Super Famicom or Super Nintendo. And it was a CD drive dubbed the Nintendo PlayStation. But Nintendo, being increasingly paranoid about PlayStation and getting a foothold into the market, they decided to strike first. But before they struck first, Sony announced proudly at the Consumer Electronics Show in Chicago that they will be working with Nintendo to create the Nintendo PlayStation, you know, a built CD drive. And then Nintendo, I think it was like the next day or the day after, pretty much was like, no, we dropped them and we're going to be working with their rival, with Philips instead. And we all know how that went with Philips. We ended up, instead with the CD drive for the Super Nintendo, we ended up with the CDI and those games.
Ha! Here's the problem. Too many toasters. You know what they say, all toasters toast toast.
Yeah, they weren't great. They weren't great. Anyway, so being pissed off, Sony created Sony Computer Entertainment, a completely new division, and they decided to come out with the PlayStation all on their own. And my God, thank God they did, because we got some great games from the PlayStation. Great games from PlayStation, and then we ended up with PlayStation 2. I mean, literally, the Sony gaming market wouldn't have existed if it wasn't for Nintendo being a prick. And that's great. I think that's great. You know what, Nintendo, that was one of your best blunders yet, and one of my favorites at least. But it's just in general that this is basically, they screwed up so bad that they ended up creating one of their worst rivals yet. You know, one where basically when the N64 came out, they had the PlayStation that was out already, and people were like, nah. Not saying the Nintendo 64 was terrible, it didn't just sell as well, you know, and it's the same thing with GameCube. But yeah, this was their own doing, basically. They shot themselves in the foot with this one. But I've been rambling for long enough. What do you guys think? Do you think I'm an idiot? You know, I've been called an idiot a lot. Do you agree with what I was saying? Do you like this list? Tell me all about it in the comments and subscribe. You know, I'm really, you know, it would be really nice if you guys were to subscribe and stuff. And I also stream, and I'm gonna be at Too Many Games this weekend if in PA. So if you're at Too Many Games, see if you see me, hit me up. I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.